extremely complex and enormous system, and it is impossible to reveal the whole system clearly. I can only draw a rough outline, and you the reader must verify it for yourself. 18 plots cannot be controlled by people in their own lives but have to be resigned to destiny. For example, their own parents cannot be chosen, arranged, or controlled by them. In fact, a lot of things in life cannot be either. Not only are the sizes of our eyes uncontrollable, but we cannot even arrange a single hair by ourselves. In the face of such vast complexities, we have to resign ourselves to destiny. If we cannot change things, then what can we do? Everything in the universe has its trajectory, all of which are run according to a well-arranged overall trajectory, and we are no exception. That is to say, we also have our trajectories. These trajectories determine the directions of people's lives, whether they will be officials or commoners, poor or rich, or male or female, and be subject to fortune or misfortune. Everything and everyone have been determined by their trajectory. Facing our trajectory, we are powerless. Who is writing your life script and arranging your trajectory of life? You are. Who is directing it? It is procedure. Everything in this life is established by the thoughts and actions of your previous life. This is fate. It is impossible to change the fate of your life because it has already been written. All of your efforts in this life only work for your next life. It can be said that your past determines your present and your present determines your future. Since everything has already been arranged and planned out and the story and plot of your life has already been set, then how do we reflect on man's subjective initiative? What good are an individual's efforts? If even what we say and do have been determined in advance, then why should we make any efforts? Individual efforts are reflected in one's mind and how perfect a role they play. Our inner activities are not arranged by our script. Our free will is reflected in our mind and whether our specific role is performed perfectly or not. Such as in a stage play, the script has been arranged by a writer in advance. The director selects performers according to each performer's appearance, character, acting skill, and so on. The performers must act strictly according to the script and plot and the director's requirement. If done well, the director will be pleased and the actors will receive more pay and have more chances to perform in future plays. If done poorly, the director will not be pleased and their opportunity for future castings will diminish. The quality of their performance depends on them. This is individual effort. Our inner activities are not arranged, nor are they destined. They rely completely on the free will and effort of the individual. It is entirely up to them to decide whether they want to have good or evil thoughts. Our inner activity is our thinking activity. Thinking activity is like a wave that spreads throughout the universe, that is, when the mind moves, its inner activity expands out to the universe and tells the universe what it is doing, and very loudly. Regarding this, we are unable to view or receive it, but gods know it. In other words, everyone's inner activities can be learned instantly by the universe and recorded in the procedure of Tao. The procedure of Tao automatically arranges the future fate and trajectory of everyone's life based on their inner activities. Karma, karma, karma. Then who rewards and punishes and who executes the mechanisms of rewarding and punishing? Rewarding and punishing are determined by the procedure of Tao, but it is only the judge. The executor is neither the procedure of Tao nor the judge, but a factor of the boundless universe, a god, or man, a dog, an ant, a storm, or an event. It is like a judge who sentences someone to death but never executes anyone personally, that is always left for a series of other people. The script of this life has been set long ago, but the script of the next life is always changing. People's thoughts and actions in this life identify their future life trajectories. If someone is destined to leave for the Celestial Islands continent but becomes seized by evil and does not play their current role well, then their trajectory of life to the Celestial Islands continent will change. Their revised trajectory may devolve toward the 10,000-year world, the 1,000-year world, back to the mortal world, or even to the animal world or to hell depending on the severity of what they do. As Lifechanyuan's guide, I sigh with deep emotion during my directing the scripts of Chanyuan celestials. For instance, I planned to have a certain individual eat a fairy peach which had been determined by her trajectory of life, however she failed to play her role as a Chanyuan celestial well in her course. I asked her to clean a toilet, but she failed to clean it thoroughly, so I knew that she was still unable to eat the fairy peach, but only wild peaches. In this way, both her fate and her trajectory of life were changed. It is a strict law that absolutely beautiful things can only be enjoyed by absolutely beautiful lives. If we do not reach an absolutely beautiful state, then absolutely beautiful results will never appear. When we enjoy absolutely beautiful things but our personal quality declines, then those absolutely beautiful things automatically disappear. This is not only the law and the script plot, but also the ever-changing living script. Past scripts are dead, future ones are alive, and living ones are always changing according to everyone's inner activities and how well or poorly they perform. The impartiality of Tao is reflected in, Tao gives to every life according to its desires. If you desire blessings in this life, Tao will bestow them upon you, but fewer will remain for your next life. If you want to become a wolf, it will make you one in your next script. If you want to become a celestial being, it will make you one. Tao will surely satisfy you and help you to achieve your goal, whatever you want to be, but it must be understood that the fulfillment of Tao is not executed immediately. It is arranged in the script, it takes a process, and it takes time. You cannot expect an airplane to come the moment you ask for it, you need to be patient. It is crucial to remember that as your plane is coming, your needs cannot change. Once there is a change, Tao has to follow your needs. If you want coffee, but then decide that you would prefer tea, Tao will immediately prepare tea for you. If the tea has not yet arrived and you decide that you would prefer Coca-Cola, Tao will prepare Coca-Cola for you right away. When you change again, Tao will change again. In short, it will always satisfy you. Now, here is a core consideration: if you want a luxury car worth $1 million, Tao will check your bank account, your merits and virtues. If they are insufficient and your bank deposits are not enough, then that $1 million limousine will not be offered to you. Even if you need a needle, you have to check your bank deposits. As long as you have enough merits and virtues, enough bank deposits for what you want, Tao will meet your requirements and demands, or help you to achieve your goal. When a person runs out of bank deposits or when their merits and virtues are exhausted and they have no remaining blessings, then they will soon collapse, fail, lose everything, go to prison, or end this life. Therefore, we need to give benefits, accumulate merits and virtues, and cherish good fortune during our lifetimes so that our blessings will last for our entire lives, even into our future lives. The universe is a huge script with countless subscripts within it, and all the small ones serve the huge one. No small script can exceed a larger one. The Milky Way galaxy is a huge script, the solar system is a medium-sized one, Earth is a smaller one, every country is a smaller one still, every organization is a much smaller one, and so on. Strings within quarks within atomic particles within molecules have the smallest scripts. Adding the non-material world, 20 parallel worlds and the 36-dimensional space, it is unimaginable and inexplicable for us to know how complex and how huge the master script is. The above is just a tiny bit of my superficial view based on man's bewilderment for your reference. To know more, you will need to work on statistics, analysis, induction, summing up from a large number of examples of human activities, both ancient and modern, at home and abroad. It will take a lot of effort for you to figure it out. Fear keeps us away from the truth. Xiefeng. August 15, 2018. Fear refers to the intensely depressing emotional experience that people feel when they are facing a certain dangerous situation, which they tried to get rid of but were unable to do anything. When fear occurs, it is often accompanied by a series of physiological changes, such as rapid heartbeat or irregular heartbeat, shortness of breath or pauses, increased blood pressure, a pale face, trembling lips, dry mouth, cold sweats, weakness in the limbs, etc. The phenomenon of physiological dysfunction often causes or promotes the occurrence of physical diseases. On the other hand, fear can cause obstacles to people's perception, memory, and thinking process, can make people lose the ability to analyze and judge the current situation, and cause behavior disorders. Baidu Encyclopedia. Faced with sudden dangers and crises, it is normal for people to be afraid. But before the coming of risks and crises, people can fantasize about a certain dangerous situation which causes them to feel fear. This is abnormal. It is a kind of disease, a kind of mental illness. Fear not only causes physiological dysfunctions, malfunctions of thinking, and behavior disorders, but also takes people far away from the truth. The closer to the truth, the farther away from fear, the farther away from the truth, the closer to fear. A person who has no fear is a person who is one with the truth, and a person who is fearful is a person who is one with falsehoods, evil and ugliness. What is truth? Truth is Tao. What is Tao? Tao is the consciousness of the creator of everything and every phenomenon in the universe, and it is the synthesis of all the laws and principles of the universe. Only by knowing the Tao and being one with the Tao can all kinds of fears be eliminated. If you stay away from the Tao, you will be afraid in your heart. From this we can see that if we are afraid in our hearts, it proves that we do not know the Tao. If we are constantly in fear, it proves that we do not understand the Tao at all, and do not understand the truth. Simply put, the more we fear, the closer we are to hell, the less we fear, the closer we are to heaven. Therefore, among the 8 without realms described in the Sutra of attaining the state of immortality, one of them is, without fear. If there is still fear, it means you have not attained the state of immortality yet. The lower the realm of life, the more fear there is, the higher the realm of life, the less fear there is. Hell is full of fear, heaven is full of joy. So, if we're in an environment where there's a lot of fear, it proves that this environment is very bad, almost like hell. If we live in an environment where there is little fear, it proves that it is an ideal environment, almost like paradise. It thus can be seen that a person who has many fears is close to hell, a person who has little fear is near heaven. What do we fear? Why should we fear? If we haven't done anything that hurts the world, why should we fear? If we haven't done anything stealthily, why should we fear? If we haven't done anything illegal, why should we fear? If we haven't hindered others living, why should we fear? We fear because we have been hiding something in our hearts. We fear because we have possessed too much, had too strong a desire for fame and fortune, and have been too ambitious. We fear because we are deeply entangled with secular ties, have too much sin and too little merit, and are too selfish. We fear because we do not understand the laws of heaven, we do not know the facts, we cannot distinguish between good and evil, and we are far away from the truth. We fear because we gain things we shouldn't gain. We fear because we have no faith and do not understand the Tao. If we know a little about Tao, we should have no fear. Not to mention the deep connotation of Tao, just examine the 3 connotations of Tao and we should not allow fear to be generated. As a man sows, so shall he reap. Divine punishments, though slow, are always sure. Good will be rewarded with good, and evil with evil. If the reward is not forthcoming, it is because the time has not yet come. When the time comes, one will get one's due reward. The sum of the positive and negative energies of the universe is 0, and what you pay and what you receive are always equal. Everything in the universe runs in the Tao, and governments and everyone in the world also run in the Tao. The Tao is fair. It is up to the greatest creator to judge who is right or wrong, and it is up to Tao to assess our merits and faults. What should come will come, what should go will go. If we understand the above 3 points, will we still fear? If you still fear, then I tell you, you have done too many bad things. Then it's unreasonable if you do not fear. If you do not fear, who should fear? Of course, you should fear. Those who live in hell live in fear all the time. Examining our own lives, if we have always adhered to truth, goodness, beauty, love, faith, sincerity, diligence, and harmony, we need not fear. If we have been giving selflessly, we have not taken advantage of others, have not harmed nature, society, others, or other lives, why should we fear? If we have not violated the law and discipline, have not humiliated our ancestors, have not blasphemed God and Buddha, and have not blasphemed the spirits and deities, why should we fear? If we haven't blocked the way of others, haven't disturbed others' preaching, haven't judged others, haven't derogated others, haven't got in the way of others living, why should we fear? If we haven't been extravagant and wasteful, and we have treated everything with kindness and love, why should we fear? Do we not believe that there are divinities watching over us? Do we not believe that our words and deeds, every action, every thought, are all being monitored and judged by the arrangements of Tao? If we think that the Tao will also do wrong to good people, it can only show that we do not understand the law of heaven, the law of Tao at all. If we are tortured and punished, the problem is not in external factors, but in ourselves. Then, fear is useless, complaining and resentment are even more useless. No one can escape the reward or punishment of a victim. Finally, what I want to tell you is that people with fear have no relationship with health, joy, freedom, happiness, and heaven. Focus and persistence can achieve miracles. Xiefeng. February 12, 2015. When something thought to be impossible happens, it is a miracle. This could include various supernatural abilities, miraculous cures for terminal illnesses, gender transformations, rejuvenation, turning stones into gold, traveling through wormholes, and so on. The realization of the most cherished wishes is also considered a miracle. The changes in all phenomena in the universe are governed by programs. As long as these programs are activated, they will operate automatically, bringing about the outcomes people passionately desire. For example, just as a sexual encounter naturally leads to climax once the program is triggered, or breastfeeding automatically produces milk once a child is born, miracles will occur when the proper programs are set in motion. We hope for miracles, but in reality, their occurrence is rare. The things we long for often do not materialize, and the phenomena we wish for do not happen. This is not because miracles do not exist, but because our efforts are insufficient. 3 feet of ice do not form in a single day, and a drop of water wears through a stone not in one day. Without deep effort and proper execution, miracles will not happen. The 5 colors can confuse the eye, the 5 sounds can deafen the ear. When our goals are scattered, when our wishes are numerous and varied, when we are inundated with information, and when our awareness is distracted by various studies and marvels at countless changes, it becomes difficult to achieve miracles. Only focus and persistence can lead to miracles. By concentrating all energy on a single point and persisting, miracles will occur. People often seek quick results, dabble briefly, and never delve deeply. Everything remains superficial, and thus miracles do not occur. Our desires are too many and too superficial, which prevents miracles from happening. There are no impossible things, only those that cannot be transformed by our thinking or imagined by our consciousness. There are no unattainable goals, only efforts that are incomplete and abandoned halfway. In my discussion on elementary self-improvement, I suggested spending 3 minutes each morning praying to the greatest Creator, and clearly expressing your wishes. By doing this consistently, the universe will align to help realize your ideals and fulfill your wishes. The issue is whether we maintain this practice daily. Turning water into wine is not difficult, but do we consistently focus our consciousness on a glass of water in a calm state? If we merely think about things occasionally, make sporadic efforts, and fail to maintain focus and persistence, our desired outcomes will not materialize. Now you understand what the right fruit is. The right fruit is achieving a state free of secular attachments, possessions, self, sadness, worries, attachment, pessimism, and fear. Reaching the state of eightfold liberation indicates that we have attained the right fruit. Once this is achieved, attaining miracles becomes easier. The loss of our home environment is detrimental to achieving miracles because it lacks a suitable atmosphere for focusing on our desires. There are too many external distractions, making it hard to calm our minds. Today's society is overwhelmed with information from television, computers, and the internet, which disturbs our consciousness. Rapid global changes in climate, politics, and social structures leave us overwhelmed and unable to reflect. Combined with numerous and varied wishes, we become like leaves blown chaotically by the wind, unable to take root or focus on any single thing. As a guide, my advice is to block out all external information and focus on striving toward that state of eightfold liberation. Each day, spend 8 minutes in the same place, at the same time, facing the same direction, adopting the same posture, performing the same action, or thinking about the same thing. Persist in this practice until a miracle occurs. First, determine exactly what you want and what goal you wish to achieve. Once the goal is set, persistently work towards it. Like a saw cutting through wood or water dripping through stone, with dedicated effort, miracles will appear. Focus solely on creation and contribution, without worrying about gains and losses, successes and failures. Xiefeng. June 12, 2016. The way of the Great Tao governs both the microscopic and the macroscopic. The universe operates within the Tao, with every detail functioning under its influence. The net of heaven is vast, yet nothing escapes it. Even gods and Buddhas cannot escape the governance of the Tao, much less mortals. Unselfishness leads to the fulfillment of the self, and selflessness leads to the realization of the self. Those who are selfless focus solely on creating and contributing, without concern for gains or successes. It is precisely because they create and contribute selflessly that the Tao fulfills all their ideals. Because they do not calculate or consider their own efforts and benefits, the Tao realizes their most beautiful wishes. The sum of positive and negative energy in the universe is zero. What one gives and what one gains ultimately balance out. If you give, you will inevitably receive. Once you receive, you must give. This is the justice of the Tao. Therefore, a person who understands this principle will focus solely on creating and contributing, leaving the question of gains or successes to the Tao's arrangement. They do not worry about being short-changed and thus live each day joyfully, immersed in giving and creating. If we create a paradise and it is taken away, we should not worry. Instead, we create another paradise. If this paradise is taken away, we continue to create yet another one. If this one is also taken away, we do not get angry, upset, hesitant, or doubt the Tao's justice. Happily, we begin creating yet another paradise, repeating the cycle of creation and contribution. The perfection of life and the way to realizing beautiful ideals lie within this continuous process. A sage has no selfish heart and takes the hearts of all people as his own. A celestial being has nothing of his own and takes what belongs to the Tao as his own. Having nothing means having everything. Once you possess something, you will have attachments, false thoughts, fears, and troubles, and you will not achieve true fruition. Therefore, continue creating and contributing without the desire to possess, and you will be free from harm and enjoy a carefree life, reaching the celestial islands continent.